Guy is a dangerous thing, could whop you in the face. And we can reach in and get our blade out, just like so. Again, be careful, be gentle, be slow, mind your eye. Hey there folks, this is Josh, Stoney Ridge Farmer. Welcome back to another beautiful day here on the Stoney Ridge Farm. It is absolutely gorgeous out here today. We're in the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina, and we're gonna be running the LT40 Wood-mizer sawmill today. We've got a big old pile of logs over here, and today the log we're gonna mill up is going to be a red oak log. This was a tree that fell over due to a windfall on my neighbor's property. I saw it laying there and I said, dude, oh man, can I get that tree up? He said, yeah. So we got a free log. We just had to work for it to get it out of the woods. What we're gonna do today is we're gonna show you a few little maintenance tidbits on the Wood-mizer, and we're gonna show you how to change out a dull blade. So I know that the blade in this machine right now is dull. It's dull, and I'm gonna show you what it looks like when you're cutting with a dull blade, how slow it goes, and the difference between a dull blade and a nice sharp blade. Stick around to the end. We're gonna show you how to change the blade out, and we're gonna also show you how beautiful this red oak mills out. It's gonna be absolutely gorgeous. Let's have some fun, all right? Woo!
I ain't afraid of work, I ain't afraid of play, I ain't afraid to get the job done and do it my own damn way. I ain't afraid of life, times like this. If you mess with my freedom, I'll tell you just what you can kiss. That's right.
First things first, let's talk about the Wood-mizer. Let's talk about the thought process here. Every time I stop using the Wood-mizer, I disconnect my water and I shut my water valve off right here. You can see water flows through there. So first thing we're gonna do is reconnect that, because that is called the lube-mizer, and that is, this blue stuff is actually windshield washer fluid with a little bit of soap. We're gonna turn that guy on and you'll see him bubbling. It'll start feeding over here to a filter system, and that gets pumped in onto the blade as it pulls through the log. Here's something that I keep together: my key and my Wood-mizer logbook. So whenever I start my Wood-mizer, whenever I use my Wood-mizer, I do a little bit of a logbook entry so that I know what I cut, what day, how the mill behaved, everything like that. So if I have a problem, I have records of it, and I also have records of everything that I've cut. So that's a pretty good idea to do that. Keep a logbook of each one of your tractors, each one of your pieces of machinery. I'm gonna set this off to the side. This will go over on the ATV. What we're gonna do is raise up the control panel right here, and we're gonna slide our key in the keyhole. So we got our key in a safe place so it don't get lost and doesn't fall on the ground in a pile of sawdust. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna check our oil, okay? The oil dipstick is right here. We're gonna look at the condition of the oil. How's it look? Give it a little smell, see how it smells. We're getting close to being due for our first oil change on this machine. This is basically a brand new machine. It's got the Kohler Command 38 horsepower fuel injected engine, so everything's super simple to work on. Everything's just, man, super easy. Even for changing the oil, there's a little tube right here. So we just loosen that tube and drain the oil into a pan. You can't beat that. And it's key start. So we're gonna come over here and I'll show you the operator station. This is the Woodmizer LT40 operator station. There's your hour meter. This is your simple set computer. We're not gonna get much into that today, but what we're cutting is probably gonna be 1-inch siding boards, and we can set this to cut 1-inch siding boards. This is for our debarker. Sometimes we use it, sometimes we don't. This engages the blade. This is our start key. This moves the blade guide back and forth. That way you can get as close to the log. You think about it, the wider cut you make, you're gonna have to widen it out. The tighter cut you make, you're gonna have to tighten it up a little bit. You don't want a long stretch of blade going through a little skinny log, because your blade will wobble like that, okay? And this is the speed at which the mill moves back and forth. This lever right here moves the mill back and forth, and this lever right here brings the mill up and down. So first thing we're gonna do, turn the key on, check both our fuses. There's a fuse here and a fuse here. We can hear a fuel pump engage, and we're gonna start this machine and let it start to warm up. Here it goes. All right, you'll see a box of blades right here. I've got a box of blades set out on the sawmill, but as the sawmill warms up to optimum running temperature, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put ATF on a few different things on this sawmill. One of the things is this rail right here. I'll put my hand on it. That rail is where the sawmill rides. The other thing is this chain down here, and we're gonna lubricate that chain as needed. Basically, every time I use the machine, I'll lubricate that chain. So not only does it have a chain that drives the whole setup back and forth, it also has a chain that moves it up and down. We wanna make sure that that thing is well lubricated, and the guys over at Woodmizer recommended a spray bottle of ATF, and I got this little soap squirt bottle right here, and I think it works pretty good. I don't want to drench my mill in ATF, automatic transmission fluid. I just don't want to do it. We don't want this thing to be a big greasy mess where sawdust is sticking to it all over. I'll show you what I do to lubricate it. So simply enough, I just take and dribble, just like that, the ATF fluid right here on this bar all the way down, and I also dribble on the chain, just like so. And guys, if you're just here so that you can see how to change a blade out on the Woodmizer, there'll be chapters down below, and you can click ahead to the chapter that you want to see. If you just want to see how to change the blade out, just skip ahead. A good friend of mine that's been running a mill like this for a very long time told me to do this. This is not from the mouth of Woodmizer. This is from a mouth of a guy that has a lot of experience. He said lubricate this wheel and lubricate this wheel. So we're going to take our spray bottle and we're just going to squirt a little bit of ATF. The Woodmizer, that's what this tube is right here. This will lubricate the blade, and you'll see there's a little bit of rust on this blade. Another checklist that we have to do is we need our blade tension to be at around 2,800 to 3,000 PSI. This is the handle we use to tighten up the blade, and you'll see the meter move to 3,000 PSI right about there, okay? We're at 3,000. When we turn the mill on, we're gonna see a drop in this. And when you first put a new blade on, you gotta watch this all the time, because as the blade runs, it's gonna stretch just a little bit. Now you know the preliminary steps to firing up the Woodmizer, making sure everything's cool. We're gonna fire it up, we're gonna get that blade turning. So all we do is start her up, and we're gonna put our hearing protection on because this thing's loud. Contact. I wanna engage our blade. There's a switch over here. Disengage, and now we're going to go over and we're going to load up our log on the log deck. So we've got a nice big piece of red oak with a big swollen spot at the end right here. So we're going to take some measurements. It might have been better for me to cut the end off of this. You'll see it as it loads up here. We're going to be using the Log Ox 4-in-1 forestry multi-tool. This is my buddy's company, Austin. He's a great guy. This is an American company. All this is made in America, and we use it every time we turn a log. So it's a great cant hook. We're gonna get over here, roll it right on up here. It's a big old heavy log right there, boy. Woo! That's a testimony to the strength of this critter. That is one heavy log. I tell you, I screwed up. I'll let you guys know. Don't ever, ever, ever put your log pile downhill from your sawmill. It's kind of flat-ish right here, but I work my butt off trying to load logs up on this thing. I need to really get the logs out and just bring them up with a tractor one by one, or move the sawmill. I should have thought of that. And when my buddy came up here to show me and give me tips and tricks, he said, I'll tell you one thing, you got your sawmill on the wrong side of that log pile. He was right. That's a big log, ain't it? Look at that. That thing's huge. We've got to slice off basically the top of this log about right here. A lot of it's gonna go to waste because the butt kind of swells out. Okay guys, you may not have noticed the sound that I can hear, but I can hear this blade going through and going, and I can hear it singing to me. I'm gonna slide this off and we'll show you our sawmill blade is dull. Let's get you a close up here so you can see exactly how we know our blade is dull. Aside from the sound of the engine bogging down and the sound of the blade going, you can tell the blade's getting dull. It skips across the wood. Ripple, 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 ripple. You can see the ripples as it goes into the wood right here. It's smoothed out as we went a little further, and I don't want to waste a good blade just yet, so we're going to cut another slab off of this. This is an educational moment. I'm going to go down 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch until I get down to where I can square off this cant. A cant is a big square piece of a log. Once I get it squared off, it'll be good to go, and then I can cut my boards to the thickness that I want them. The 1 inch pieces will be used for dunnage. In other words, for stickers. As we stack this lumber to dry, we'll have 1 inch stickers to stick in between the boards. We got the little Toro chainsaw out here. I did happen to notice that this knob sticks out just a little too far. What we want to do is we're going to take our little chainsaw here and we're going to lop off this knob. By the way, guys, this is the 60 volt flex force Toro chainsaw. Kicks butt, man. I love it. There's always a tiny piece of unknown predicament that we can get into when running equipment. Everything doesn't go perfectly smooth all the time. In looking at this log is nice and straight, or almost straight on this side, and it's got this huge bulge over here. So my thought process tells me that I need to roll this log and I need to cut that stinking knob off. So I'm gonna have to do a complete 360 on this log to get this up. This log is gonna be so beautiful, guys. Stick around to the end. We're gonna pour some water across it. You're gonna see the most beautiful red oak you've ever seen. We almost have a complete squared off cant, which is awesome, man. I can really tell that I need to change my blade, especially when we got down about right here. I could really feel it working. You can hear it in the mill. You can hear it kind of bog just a little bit as I'm cutting. So we're gonna change the blade out, and then we're gonna flatten this edge off. We're gonna roll it over, flatten the next edge off. Then we should have a complete square cant. In hindsight, probably what I should have done, this is a 12-foot piece of lumber, I do believe. Probably what I should have done was lop it off to a 10-footer and get rid of this knob on the end, because it's really served as a nuisance for sure. So let's show you how to change the blade in the Woodmizer LT40. First step, earlier you saw me bring this up to 3,000 PSI. We want to get that back down, okay? So we're going to loosen our lever, and we're just going to loosen it until that blade is nearly completely loose. And we're going to come around the other side, and there are a couple covers we need to remove. Guys, be smart. Get at a good ergonomic working height, okay? Understand that these blades are sharp and they will cut you, so wear some gloves and some eye protection so you don't get whopped. We don't need our hearing protection. This is my 3M Work Tunes, by the way. Love it, love it. I'll post a link down in the video description. It's called Work Tunes. Man, I ride the tractor with these, the four-wheeler with these, all kinds of stuff. Run the sawmill with these. If you want to listen to a little bit of music while you work, that's the ticket right there. A lot of times when you're running machinery, you don't want really loud music, so just a little background music is nice. Just like so. When we pull that pin, we'll loosen a little tab right here. Okay, grab this handle and take that cover off. So we'll let this down. It's a little flap. It opens up a window right in here. The blade runs right along in there into these guides. And we're gonna step over the other side of the mill, pull another pin, and loosen another little stay. And that's it. Loosen that guy, lift out, pull him out this direction. Okay? Set that in a safe place so you don't mess it up. And we're gonna take our old blade out. We need to make note of the direction the blade cuts. The blade, all of the blades are pointed this direction. The blade cuts that direction, okay? So we're gonna make a note of that, a mental note of that. And then we're gonna gently and carefully remove our blade. Now this is only the second time I've changed the blade. If any of you guys have any tips, please, tips or pointers, please post them down there in the comment section. We can all learn from each other, okay? There's our blade. Again, remember, this critter's dangerous. It's sharp. You can see this sucker is worn out, but that's the blade. These blades can be taken to your local Wood-mizer sharpener or your local Wood-mizer dealer. Our Wood-mizer of the Carolinas will get a whole box of these blades together and we will take them in and have them sharpened, or we can ship them down there to them. It's only about, I think when you buy a Wood-mizer, I do believe you get some free blade sharpenings out of the deal. Now here is a fine art that I have not yet perfected, but I'm gonna try it in front of you guys, in front of the camera. With the sharp side down, or the sharp side up, I'm just gonna hold it in my hands and I'm going down like that and in like this. And there's our blade. Cool? Again, your local Wood-mizer dealer will have one, hopefully without the sharp points on it, and you can practice with it. You could probably buy a practice one if you wanted to. Cool? Let's go in here in the box and we'll get a new blade. So new blades come in a box like this from Wood-mizer. Open up the treasure chest right here. We can reach right in. There's a little hook right in the center, and we can reach in and get our blade out. Just like so. Again, be careful, be gentle, be slow, mind your eyes, and don't let it cut you, okay? Remembering the direction of cut, okay? That's what we've got to do. We look at our blade, we make sure the direction of cut is appropriate, and that is on the bottom, they're pointed that way, okay? So we'll pinch our blade together, just like so. And these wheels, just so you know, over the top of them, they have a belt. Pinch it together, just like so. Go back in through the back side here. Very easily, very gently. Nothing takes force. We'll lay it in this tray, just like so. Get it up in there. Okay. Go back over here. Make sure we're riding through the little groove here. If you've got a Wood-mizer, you know what I'm talking about. We want the blade to be almost flush with the back side of that pulley that I just showed you, okay? We're gonna take this one and do the same thing. Sometimes these can be a booger. Always nicer to have two people. There we go. Got her in there. This is the guide that we need to go through. So you gotta be careful, get her up in that guide right there, because it's gonna roll along that wheel. Get it matched up on both of your pulleys. So again, we want the blade to be almost flush with the rear of the pulley here, okay? Sometimes you gotta loosen your blade tension. Sometimes you just gotta spin it a little bit on there, just like that. And then we'll go back here and we'll snug our tension back ever so slightly till we just start feeling a little tension, and we'll give her a turn, okay? Make sure we're gonna ride in the correct place. Something is just not quite right. We're gonna feel around the backside. Make sure we're riding, again, in the correct appropriate place. We'll tighten up just a little more. Pulls that blade tight. We'll give her a little turn. There we go. Good deal. Good deal. Feeling on the backside, very nice. Everything's fitting just perfect. So we're gonna take our plates that we removed earlier, and we're gonna replace them, and we're gonna tighten our tension up. We're gonna go to the other side and make sure our blade is riding in the right spot around on the other side too. Just feel right on the back side there and snug it up. There, I couldn't find any videos on this on YouTube whatsoever. So now you know how to change the blade, and we'll fire it up here and you'll see we'll tension her down once again, probably to about 2800, maybe a little bit less, and we'll turn it on and then we'll tension it as it runs just a little bit, and we'll keep a close eye on that tension as we work with this new blade in this oak log. Do not run this machine with these guards off. It is dangerous. So we've got the blade in place here. Our tension meter is reading about 250 PSI. We're gonna go ahead and snug her on up. Just a little more, all the way up to the 2800 mark here. Guys, I'm gonna start the mill first, just like so. Now, I'm gonna show you the tension gauge as it drops a little bit as we're first breaking in this new blade. So we're gonna let it run for just a minute. Fire it up. You see how that loosened up? We're gonna take it all the way to 3,000. I tightened it a little bit while we were running it. Take it all the way to 3,000 and we're ready to start cutting again. All right guys, always remember to use leverage, okay? So turn that board and uplift it and toss it over there, and these will be used, again, these are 1-inch cuts. We'll cut them into 1-inch little squares, and all these will be stickers for stacking lumber. So just like so. Ooh, baby, for the reveal. Nice. We'll get all this sawdust off the top right here. Oh man, that's some beautiful, beautiful red oak. Oh my goodness. Oh, look at that. Look at the grain. Oh, I'm gonna get you guys a close-up. That is beautiful. Look at the grain in that beautiful, beautiful red oak. Isn't that awesome, guys? Wow. It's amazing you can take all that junk off of this log and make something that beautiful. I don't think I can bring myself to make this barn wall boards, cut them into 1-inch pieces. I think I'm gonna cut them into 2-inch thick slabs for use in building bar tops and tabletops. That is just absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. Look at that grain. Guys, I can't tell you the personal satisfaction that I get from taking a log and turning it into usable lumber. There's just something magical about this. I think it's therapeutic just to watch this mill work. It's just awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you learned a little bit. If you're considering buying a Woodmizer, now you know the process of changing out a blade and you know a little bit more about how they work. This is a art form. This is not something that you learn just like that. This takes hours and hours and hours. You see we've got a beautiful square cant right here. We'll measure this up and we'll get the most lumber we can possibly get out of it. I'm considering cutting it into 2-inch slabs to make awesome thick, let's see how wide this thing is. 14 inches wide. So to make like 14-inch wide, you can make cutting boards, you can make tabletops, you can make shelving, you can make all kinds of stuff. You can always plane it down to a smaller thickness. So man, that's awesome. Taking something that would otherwise be garbage or firewood and turning it into beautiful lumber. Guys, thanks a lot for joining me here on the Stoney Ridge Farm. I hope you got your fix for the sawmill today. Hope you enjoyed it.
Come on down to the Stoney Ridge, bring your wife and bring your kids. We're living life pure and sweet. That's the way it's supposed to be, Stoney Ridge. Woo!
He pees in the treetops all day long, peeing and a popping and a singing his song. Let me start that over. This is a good piece of blah, 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 blah. But if you're thinking, it just went too far, didn't it, Josh? Change a blade on your, it's too much blah, 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 dude. Barn siding out of this, all right? Out of this what? Out of this world. Be made into strippers or, they won't be made into strippers.